We use two approaches to participatory learning workshop. The first, the scenario-based one. The second, practice-based. In the first, we wanted to train or build the capacity of our participants as community researchers. So we adopted a learning by doing approach, or an action learning approach. And that was set out in the scenario that we drew from our previous engagement with community participants. The other approach is practice-based, where we want to train the participants to be community media practitioners, and in particularly audio or radio practitioners. Anyway, more of that later, but for now, we had two scenarios that we got our participants to think about. The first was as follows. You've been invited by a community to engage with them in discussions of problems relating to modern day slavery as it affects their community. They were experiencing issues and concerned about issues of child labour, forced and early marriages, debt bondage, human trafficking, and female genital mutilation. We want you to discuss the causes of modern slavery, explore ways in which awareness of these issues might be raised, and consider how it may be addressed within the community. Which agencies should be involved, and how could policy administration people assist in these processes?
I represent three. We treat child labor, and we had various topics where we discussed about the causes, the methods of curbing it, and various agencies which could be involved to curb that menace of child labor in our community. So first of all, we started by causes of child labor, whereby we talked about the poverty. The linkage between poverty and child labor is very positive, in that where poverty is largely experienced in a given community, children are forced to look for a way of survival whereby they get themselves to work, hence making them to be exposed to that labor which they should not be. In poverty, we're getting that most of persons who are poor, they are ignorant of various methods of farming. For instance, most of them engage in traditional methods of farming, whereby they get very little, which cannot sustain their large families, hence making these children to go and look for the work. So that is the poverty. Then we talked about the cultural practices. In cultural practices, we discussed about the traditional beliefs among the persons in the community, whereby you get that in a given area, a woman, in most communities, women are not even entitled to get the title deeds of the farms. So hereby the husband is dead, the woman doesn't have the title deed, so the people around the community, they end up even chasing that woman away. When that woman is chased from where he was married and she doesn't have the title deed of that land, the children are forced to go and labor for them to get something to sustain themselves. And then we talk about lack of responsibility among parents. Parents don't provide the basic needs such as shelter, labor, and food, which are mostly required for the upbringing of the child. So that is lack of responsibility among parents. Most parents are not responsible. And then we talk about population increase. A given homestead, a family produces a number of children which they cannot sustain. So in this instance of population increase, we get that the family, the mother and the father, they don't have any job, but they end up giving up even up to 10 children. These children end up suffering, they cannot get enough food, enough shelter, and even education. So that is the point of population increase. And then we went to methods of curbing this child labor. We talked about creating awareness of modern methods of farming to reduce poverty levels. So when modern methods of farming are introduced to communities, they will end up increase their production. When they increase their production, the children will get enough food and will not be subjected to this kind of labor which will make them suffer.
Thank you for this chance. I'm Dan and I will be representing Group 2. So in our group, we are mainly concerned with the causes of some of the modern day slavery. And we began with early marriage. So we came to find that early marriage is first caused by poverty among families. Because some families are very poor and they consider that if the girl gets married, bride wealth will come to the family. And in that form, the family will escape poverty. So being poor makes more family subdue their girls into early marriages. Again, we went to early pregnancies because in communities when girls get pregnant, they are shamed and they are stigmatized by their fellows. So families, to escape this shame, you find that they want to marry off their daughters to escape shame and stigma. And then also pressure from parents. In other words, illiteracy. When a parent is illiterate, he won't know that the girl should be in school. So he will want to marry her off as soon as the girl starts showing puberty changes, like when breasts start appearing, the parent will think that the child is mature and ready for marriage, yet the child should still be in school. Again, being an orphan where a child lacks parental guidance. Here you find that the child doesn't know that maybe if he's influenced by friends or peers, he won't know that this is wrong because he or she lacks, she lacks the parental guidance. And under this early marriage, you find her being subject to early marriage. Again, lack of education. For example, you find most girls in the villages, maybe they reach class 8. Here, once you stop learning, you find you don't have anything to do. The only option is marriage. So lacking the education, because after class 8, if one cannot go to high school, there are some colleges that he or she can go. But since the girl lacks education, she will see as if she doesn't have any other thing to do other than get married. Again, the other modern slavery that we talked about in Group 2 was child labor, where just as early marriage, we also have poverty. Because parents, some families, you find that they see that as if maybe if they send off their children to work, they will get money. And that money might help the family sustain. This happens most especially in single parent family where the parent is unable, maybe physically impaired or unable to cater for the family. So maybe the boy is 17 or 16 or less than 18, but since the parent is unable to provide, the child will have to step up, no matter the age of the parent, to step up and provide for the family. Again, we talked about lack of support among families. Among families to purchase adequate needs for the child. So you find that if a child, let's say most especially teenagers, like nowadays, teenagers want to dress well, they want expensive phones, which parents cannot. Maybe parents are in a position that they can't afford. So you find this girl wants to do work, maybe work that isn't according to as per his or her age, just in order to purchase the trends and be like his fellow teenagers. Again, lack of action from the administration on people practicing child labor. Even right now in communities, child labor is being practiced so much, but no action is being taken. This makes other people to be ignorant because they see as if nothing will be done to them. So they also subdue other children to child labor. Since the ones who are currently being subdued, nothing has happened to them. So another modern slavery we talked about was child trafficking. Under child trafficking, though it has been on the rise, it has not been affecting people, but recently it has been on the rise. The first cause is barrenness, especially in women. When some women, when they're barren, they want to have children by force. So when they go to the maternity areas, where some women who are poor offer to sell their children to the rich, barren women. This is a form of child trafficking. Again, poverty among families. Some women, you might find a woman has 2 children, then she bears the 3rd one, yet she cannot even support the former 2. So she considers selling the 3rd child and then get money to support the remaining 2. Again, we have early pregnancies, because some girls, let's say you get pregnant away from home, most girls are afraid to go back home because they see as if they'll be stigmatized, as we spoke on early marriages, stigmatized and shamed. So what they do, they consider selling the child so that they can avoid stigma. Though most of them throw the child, but some of them sell the child, which is a form of child trafficking, so that they can avoid the stigma back at home. So those were our points, and we came up with 2 solutions which we thought were the main. The first solution was creating awareness, and that one is educating the community on effects of modern slavery. So once all these things, we found out that the main cause is ignorance. So to fight them, we have to create awareness so that all these points that we've talked about can be known to the community and those people who are not able to reach here to know what we are talking about here. The second point, we couldn't write it because of space, but we said that, yes, I'm serious. So we said that the second point is, as we said here, some people are not being taken legal action. So when the government steps up and takes action on those people who are subduing children under early marriage, child labor, and child trafficking, then modern slavery can be fought. Thank you.
In every book we have talked about what is happening, but what is the solution? We have written them down, and most of them, when you check out this group, the point is only what? Ignorance. How will the community, how will we change our community? We have youths here. As we were just, I thought of that, at least we make something, or like a seminar. We call all these parents and these youths will present for them, mothers, so that people may get this awareness. Or our radio, if the radio comes, I think it will work together. So I really thank you for that, because all of us, we are there, but we were quiet. Everyone is quiet. No one has ever thought of that. We see children in child labor, getting married early. All this we have been doing. Even the chiefs have been trying, even holding these parents. Sometimes you find a parent coming as far as a child abuse, raping a parent, doing this, raping a child. But at the end, you are finding the father raping a girl, and then some days you find the child is out. The father is out. It means that thing continues on and on. So, it's very good that we have our chief here. And our sub-chief is also here. Our friends have come with a very, very good word. These things are happening around our villages, they are happening and we are seeing them. So we are requesting that we should go back and fight this war. Even if we get 3 of us and then we get something like a seminar, sensitize people, because I think everyone is saying it is ignorance. Thank you.
Thank you.